States Embassy in Venezuela is defending 3 diplomats expelled by President Nicolàs Maduro on Monday. Maduro says the 3 were planning acts of sabotage to disrupt the country ahead of the December regional elections. CCTV's Markovits is in Caracas with more.
Hi, Mike. The expulsion of these embassy officials was something that was not that surprising. Venezuela and the United States have been long at odds politically for years. But Maduro's decision destroyed any hopes that diplomatic relations between the two countries would be restored anytime soon. Venezuelan-U.S. relations have hit a new low after President Nicolàs Maduro expelled the top American diplomat and 2 embassy officials from the country on Monday.
I have evidence here in my hand. We have enough evidence gathered of the hostile, illegal, interventionist attitude of the officials, several officials at the U.S. Embassy in Venezuela, violating international law.
On Tuesday, Venezuelan Foreign Minister Lias Hawa released a video showing a group of U.S. Embassy officials, including Kelly Keterling, who is temporarily in charge of the U.S. diplomatic mission, leaving the offices of an anti-Maduro electoral monitoring group. Hawa says they were meeting to discuss a plot to disrupt the country's energy grid ahead of the December regional elections. In September, Venezuela had one of the worst power outages in its history. It spread across 2/3 of the nation, and it also affected the capital, Caracas. Soon after, Maduro blamed Washington for the blackout. The U.S. has denied working with opposition groups to destabilize the Maduro government. After elected president earlier this year, Maduro signaled that he wanted to have better relations with the U.S. than what his predecessor, the late Hugo Chavez, had. Chavez had long accused Washington of trying to destabilize his government. But those efforts to restore diplomatic relations quickly changed after Maduro started accusing the U.S. of trying to assassinate him. Just last week, the Venezuelan president canceled the speech at the United Nations General Assembly's annual gathering because of threats against his life. But many political observers believe that Maduro has used these accusations as a smokescreen to cover up pressing problems back home, like skyrocketing inflation and shortages of basic household goods.
This has been going on before Maduro, with Chavez. It was the same game. That always said they had evidence of these conspiracy plots, but they never were presented to the Venezuelan people or even the international courts.
But many are now worried whether this latest incident could affect Venezuela's commercial relations with the U.S. Despite both countries recalling their ambassadors in 2010, the U.S. is still by far Venezuela's main trading partner and key buyer of its oil, accounting for about 40% of Venezuela's total oil exports. But that is slowly declining.
Martin, you had one of your folks that you interviewed say that this is a smokescreen. There were some last week who were suggesting that perhaps one of the reasons why Maduro skipped coming to the UN General Assembly was because there might be unflattering comparisons with Hugo Chavez, who was such a dynamic, forceful speaker. Is that floating around there in Venezuela as well, that contention?
Well, that's what I've been hearing. I mean, it's no mystery that Hugo Chavez was very charismatic. Many thought because this is Maduro's first year as president, he wasn't really ready for prime time at the United Nations. Hopefully they feel that next year he'll be ready.
Any indication at all that there might be a thaw, or is this going to be standard operating procedure between the United States and Venezuela moving forward?
Well, this is, the United States and Venezuela have had a lot of problems, and this is, like I said in the package, a new low. And we thought that business relations would resume with Maduro, but it doesn't look very good between the relations between the two countries. This is a big step.
All right, Martin Markovits live for us from Caracas this evening. Thanks so much.